It's Friday, Feedback Friday, the feedbackiest day of the week. It's Feedback Friday. It was like, Feedback Friday. I'd start the video over again, but I have precious little time. Wednesday and Thursday were busy this week because of Rosh Hashanah. Everybody from Tuesday pushing over to Wednesday, and yeah, it was busy. But okay, it's Feedback Friday, and I'm going to focus on the video on how to really reach boys, listen to them. And that not only had quite a few people in the comments saying what they would have helped them to hear when they were a kid. One said, and this was interesting, one said, not everyone and everything is against you. Sometimes there is no ill intent, just ignorance and passivity, and one must be resilient against it. Took ages to get that one figured out. Excuse me. And cough on the truth there. I think that, yeah, I do see a lot of people, and this is both men and women, who really do think that every slight is somehow calculated and nefarious, and it's often not. And the thing is, our brain, the default mode network of our brain goes, but what if they are? And there's some belief that if we don't protect against any and all threats, someone is going to take us down. And I mean, as somebody who has my fair share of people who hate me for really weird things, sure, it's scary. And yeah, it's easy to become paranoid. But the truth is that some people, yes, some people are out to get you. It's true, not everyone is, but some people are. And it's often very hard to tell who's who. Some people can rage against you and be completely harmless. You know, other people threaten people's pets and then lie about it and get mad at you because you told the truth about it. And the ones that are violent are, the scariest ones. But what really matters is that the people who are for you. And that, I think, is an important message as well, that people are in a guy's court. I believe it's very important to stick up for your friends. This is a value of mine. It's gotten me into a ton of trouble. Both the people, well, all three of the people relentlessly cyber stalking me right now did it because I stuck up for a friend. One of those friends was male. And I hear from a lot of men that people don't stick up for them, but they believe that women are protected and comforted and championed and men don't get it. And frankly, I find that a lot of the protect women shit online, at least in my experience, it's just that, it's shit. Unless, well, in my experience, I'm very careful because individual mileage may vary. The guys that stuck up for me were doing it for themselves and their own ego, not truly because they believed in me. This is professionally. And personally in some cases. Now, that's not true across the board. There are some people who really do support me, now. But I'm thinking like back in the Gamergate days and the people who were support women, don't harass women, and privately they were going, look, if you're going to talk to these creeps, then untag me, which is not support, so there's a bit of bullshit there too. But also there are people who have boys and young men and men's backs. It's just hard to see and hear sometimes between all the relentless criticism that, boys and men get on the regular. And I say boys and men because I think as some people get older, you can kind of, rough out your own space where you can say, yeah, I'm not interested in you talking to me that way anymore. When you're younger, you have a lot less control over that stuff. And that really does matter. And I do think that having a person in your corner who will tell you when they think you're wrong, that's very important. But even when they do think you're wrong, have your back in some way. Say, no, I still think you're a good person. I know you didn't mean to. Even when you make a mistake, when you don't make a mistake, they should be there going, giving you the support you want. And I know I personally don't want people fighting with the super creepy cyber stalkers online on my behalf, and because they want attention, because that's one of their major drivers for their behavior. And if they get all these people fighting with them, they get what they want and they encourage it, and it encourages the behavior. Not that I don't appreciate the support, but I'd rather people didn't. And it's really amazing how some guys, one of which is now one of the cyber stalkers, either got offended by that or ignored it. When I kept saying, please don't engage with Stalker Chan. Please don't give her more ammunition. It's not going to stop her. She wants you to splatter her name all over the internet. Please don't do it. He didn't listen. And one of the things he turned on me for is telling him to delete the mass of my tweets and other online communications that he collected as some sort of takedown of her, which wasn't going to make a difference. She's just going to lie and say, no, those accounts aren't me. Like, without law enforcement in some sort of court. And even then, she lies about that too. I mean, I appreciate the sentiment, but please delete that stuff. I don't give you permission to use it in a vendetta against somebody else. And he got really mad at that. And that's part of what ended the friendship and turned him into another hater online. For some odd reason, he took real exception to me saying, please don't do that. This is not healthy. And I do think that because some people are extremely ego-driven and some people are extremely transactional, and there's a particular rage in some men. It manifests differently in women. And, because it's less socially acceptable for women have to be cry bullies, whereas men can just be straight up bullies, and it's considered not okay, but normal in a way because of the gender segregation that happens in like the 7th, 8th grade. Men take that on the chin. And we know, or boys do anyway, and we know that the best thing you can do, this is according to data, the best thing you can do for someone who is being bullied is support them after the fact, because sometimes confronting the bully does make it worse. It depends on a lot of factors, and it really is about, at the end of the day, it's about the victim of the bullying, the victim of the harassment, feeling like they have some control over their lives still. And it does sound like a lot of young men come out of adolescence feeling like they have no control over what happens to them. And it takes a really long time to come out of that bitterness. And there's a lot of social things convincing them that it's girls, it's women, it's their fault. But, I talk to some of these guys that have these sort of manosphere views, and they don't have enough experience with women for it to be really foundationally damaging. And I think it might be so shameful to admit that the shit people said back in the day among groups of boys hurt. And I do think that instead of flinging around accusations and acting like it's a big conspiracy, instead of saying, you're a hypocrite and being disingenuous, it's really much better if someone is coming at you in good faith to say, all right, that didn't feel fair, or, that comment stung, and then, proceed. You can be upset and still be emotionally regulated. And when you're flying off the handle that way, it's clear you're not. And I see a lot of stuff in comments where it's like, that's a trauma response. And this person thinks it's about me right now, but that level of emotional response from a YouTube video, something deeper from, the formative years got touched there. And that is hard to admit. And I do think, one, the amount of criticism that men take, I use the sports coach example in the video, and that touched off a lot of talk on the Discord server about sports related trauma and why some guys just hate sports because it was a horrible experience for them. And it was eye-opening. I think that sports is seen as this positive thing when it's a good coach. We don't factor in what happens when it's a bad coach. And all people should be able to do recreational sports just for fun, the kind of thing they like to do just for fun, not because it looks good in a college application, not because you're going to win everything, just for fun. And there's so much, you're not allowed here. You're not good enough somehow. At both, boys who are less athletic and then trans girls now. There's no reason to care what team a 9-year-old plays on in sports. There's no physical advantage at the age of 9 or 10. That's ridiculous. Even 11, there's really no, puberty hasn't really kicked in yet. It's absurd. This idea of being picked last for sports, this motif, right? This trope. When I was in school, they solved that with dodgeball. It was okay, everybody, we're splitting it down the middle. Everybody, you're on this team, you're on this team. There's no picked teams because I knew that was an issue. And it's just so stupid that, they pick the kid who probably needs the exercise most last. And that's why it shouldn't be about winning and losing. It should be about getting physical activity. And that's why I think the Nintendo games that encourage fitness and all that stuff are great. Anything that gets you moving is good. And if you're going to be picked on less, if you're going to feel less bad by opting out than trying and having people be mean about it, well, of course, you're discouraging people from engaging in physical activity for the rest of their life. I remember when I was really into swimming as a kid. And then in high school, there was this swim team, and the kids on it called me White Whale, and that was it. I quit the swim team. I wouldn't wear a bathing suit in public for a really long time. And so I know how that can go. And, teachers miss things. They probably should have stopped that. But, I don't remember if that was co-ed or not. A lot of things were co-ed when I was a kid because we weren't. I grew up pre-Disney princess age. I don't remember if that was, though. Usually girls are more cruel to other girls than boys are, because boys get in trouble for doing it in a way girls don't. And the thing about single gender spaces is because they're seen to be safe, you're usually at the mercy of your own gender more than the other. But that's neither here nor there. I do think that we need to not only sincerely affirm men and boys more, we need to watch how critical we are. Like, you can say to someone, can you stop that, please? And this is why I need you to stop it. You don't have to say, why are you so annoying? Why are you such a loser? And I see a lot of people who talk that way to themselves. I know the people cyber stalking me, all the nasty shit they claim about me is just projection and deflection. Every time they do it, I see the inside of their own mind, and it is an awful place, and they are so deeply in denial about where the source of their unhappiness is, because it's of the daddy didn't really love you variety, or mommy didn't really love you, or no, you weren't really popular as a kid. And none of this really matters in the grand scheme of things, but that's their work to do. The thing we can do is, one, do better with each other. Like, be more praiseworthy. Don't worry if it's gay. And, don't worry if you think it's unmasculine. And I try not to worry. I'm always torn between, I'm 47 years old. I've seen what the internet content says. No guy's gonna give a shit if they think I'm coming on to them. But then also, hey, gotta be appropriate, and I don't, you don't want to send the wrong signals, but all you can really control is your intent. But I know I do give more honest compliments now that I'm not worried about, further getting branded a slut who just gets things because men want to sleep with me. It was never true, but it's amazing how quickly people go there. And I do not understand why some men lie about sleeping with a particular woman. To me, it is one of the most invasive things you can do, especially if that woman's married. Like, it's a really terrible lie because of what it falsely says about that woman. But again, those are deeply insecure people who aren't enough on their own. And I mean, obviously somebody hurt them back in the day, and they're using certain women as objects to, puff themselves up, not thinking at all about what that does to the woman. They create permission structures all they want. But I know that, a lot, I will even say most men are not like that, or they do it once when they're younger, feel terrible about it, and never do it again. And I do think that we have to start assuming goodness in men instead of this current paradigm of, well, all men are a potential rapist, and so I'm going to treat them accordingly until I see otherwise. There is a neutral state, right? And there are ways to just go like, look, I'm going to set boundaries here so that, I'm not in an unsafe situation, but that doesn't mean you can't be honest about something you think someone is doing well. It can make their day. It can make their week. It can just give them. I was talking to a friend this week, and I said something to him that was complimentary, and he says, thank you. I need to hear that more. And it was true, is the thing. So, the guys in your life, everybody in your life, but, in this case, it's about men, just tell them what they do right. Because if there's something you want them to do more often, that is the best way to do it. Because then they know it's a good thing. So if they want to get credit for doing a good thing, they know what to do. But it is also the right thing to do. We're too guarded. We're too you first. We're too, well, I don't want to, I get the concern about seeming creepy because I have it as well. But I do it anyway, because I'd rather risk seeming creepy, but give somebody a little boost than only think of myself, and, not benefit others in some way. So there's different ways of thinking about it. I didn't do the help support this channel off the top, and we are coming up on Discord links for the month. If you want to join our Discord server, help support this channel, become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK, or buy a one-time Leanna Care session for someone who can use it but can't afford it, coffee.com/LeannaK. We are 77% towards laptop goal. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to this channel if you want to support me in non-monetary ways. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.